Guys, this is Scribbly again with another pen review, and today I welcome you to another installment of the Comparative Overview series, which is a series of videos where I do compare pens that are either fairly similar or pens that for any other reason would probably just make sense to see side by side, such as the Platinum Century 3776 and the Sailor 1911 Large that I have done a comparative review of a while ago. Right here we have Pilot Capless laying, and I've reviewed Pilot Capless / Vanishing Point fountain pens. I have also done a comparative overview video that was a comparison between a Pilot Capless / Vanishing Point and a Pilot Decimo, which is the slightly slimmer version of that. And today I want to do a comparative video in between the regular, and I keep calling it Capless now for the sake of simplicity, and the Capless Wood. I want to say thank you to the pen company in the UK who have sent me this Capless Wood right here so that I could actually do this comparative overview. Guys, before we hop into the comparison, just real quick, that's the packaging with the Pilot logo on. Slides out like this. I'm gonna do that really quick because I've reviewed a number of those before, so you know what that looks like. Got the pen in a fine nib right here. The pen opens up like this and out comes, you know, this kind of cool packaging with the ink cartridge and the converter and some paperwork. That's it. I don't want to spend a lot more time on that. If you're interested in what is really in the packaging, watch some of my older videos. I don't want to annoy everyone that has already seen all of that. Here we have them, the Pilot Capless. We have right here a black and gold trim version. That's the regular metal pen. And right here we have a black and chrome trim version. This is a birchwood pen. The birchwood is also available in red birchwood. This here is black birchwood, and they look very similar, but there is a few subtle differences, and that's what I want to show you in this video right here. So it's not going to be an in-depth video of the Capless. If you want to see that, go to scribbly.org on my YouTube channel, type in Capless and you can watch that. Have enough reviews of those pens. This here is a rather brief comparative overview of the differences in between metal pen and wooden pen. Both obviously clicky pens. Now let's look at the differences. The first difference is a difference that you feel straight away when you take them into your hand, because as expected, wood is more lightweight than metal, so the Capless wood does actually make for quite a bit of a more lightweight pen in hand. I actually personally do prefer the slightly bit more of a heft that I get from the metal pen. But if you do tend to like very lightweighted fountain pens, then maybe the wood is something for you. What I do love when having the wood in hand is the grip and the feel of the warm, natural material in hand. It is fantastic. It feels, as said, very warm to the hand, feels very natural, and a beautiful thing as well is that wood, as opposed to metal, is obviously not slippery at all. It's not that those metal Capless fountain pens would be very slippery. These are some of the metal fountain pens that are least slippery, if you compare it with the chrome section of a Lamy Studio, for instance, or something like that. But if you do have issues with that metal, if you do find it slippery, I personally don't, then you may want to look into the birchwood version of the pen, because that one is actually not slippery at all. There is another difference. That's more of an optical difference, and I think it's for manufacturing reasons, because they probably have to sort of like, I don't know how they do it, but sort of like, you know, put that wood around that metal instrument insert here, or they drill a hole in it and then insert it, or I don't know how they actually do it, but you do see a little bit of a ridge here on the wooden pen that the metal pen does not have. So the metal pen does actually sit pretty flush with this front bit here. And on the birchwood pen, you do have a little bit of like a ridge sticking out right here, which I believe, as said, is for manufacturing reasons, but I think it's interesting just to know when you see them side by side that it's there. The clip then is the same. The cap band or center bind or whatever is also the same, just that you have Pilot Japan sort of screen printed onto the metal barrel right here. Obviously, it would have not been possible to print that onto the wood. It probably would have lost the color. It's probably also not possible to etch it into the wood. So Pilot opted right here for engraving that onto one of those rings where you then have Pilot Japan. And another subtle difference is at the end of the pen here. This end thingy does also seem to be a little bit thicker on the birchwood one, and you also see when you see the pen from behind that the diameter, the wall thickness of the birchwood right here is thicker than on the metal fountain pen, which, and as said, like I'm not one that does like these, like, you know, size measurements and diameter comparisons scientifically measuring all that kind of stuff. I'm more somebody that does subjective weight and size comparisons and stuff like that. But once I saw that, I looked more onto the pen a little bit more closely, and as said, I have not measured it. I'm not sure if it's exactly true, but I do have the feeling that the birchwood version is a wee bit thicker than the metal version. And I think one also sees it when one holds them like this side by side, that this pen is slightly thicker. So, I mean, there is obviously a difference between the Decimo and the regular Capless. The regular Capless being thicker, and I personally find that more comfortable in hand, but that depends on what kind of pen thicknesses you like. And I do think that the birchwood right here actually is even a little bit thicker. Guys, you know obviously that this is how you fill this pen, right? You have the Pilot proprietary cartridges sitting in here, or you can insert a converter. I inked that one up, refilled the cartridge with a syringe with my all-time favorite blue ink, trusted Diamine Florida Blue. And then you have like the 18K Pilot nib in here. It's a fine nib in that case. Just wanted to show that to you. Obviously, the ones who know the Capless know that, but I just thought for the sake of this being a complete overview, I'm not doing a writing sample right here because I've done plenty of writing samples when been doing Capless reviews before. One thing though that I did want to talk again at the end of this review is price. So there is quite a bit of a price difference in between those two actually, which is probably owed to the material. Not sure if it's entirely justified, but the metal version of the pen retails, you know, depending on obviously where you get them from and all that. These Japanese pens, they tend to be more expensive in Europe than in the US for some reason. I'm based in Northern Europe here. I'm going to talk about European pricing. In Europe, you typically get the regular Capless for around 200 euro, something between 195 and 205. Let's do it 200 euro. So let's make it 200 euro, something like that. And the wooden version, red or black birchwood, does retail for around 100 euro more, for around 300 euro. Now, I think that's quite a bit of price difference. We have a similar price difference between Sailor pens, for instance, when you have a regular Sailor Pro Gear or a Sailor Pro Gear Realo. These are also 300 versus 400 euro. There's also 100 euro in between them. Well, there you have a piston filler as a price differentiator. Here it is only material. As said, I don't know how much more birchwood is than metal. I don't know how much more manufacturing complexity the making of a wooden pen does bring with itself, and whether that may be something that justifies the price. I've heard that making wooden fountain pens that won't crack over time is apparently quite difficult. I don't know, I'm not a pen manufacturing expert and material scientist, but I just wanted to point that out to you guys. There's €100 in between those two. Is it worth it? I guess that's you to make that call. That's it. We arrived at the end of this comparative overview. The differences are subtle, but I think they're definitely there. And given the price difference, I thought it was worth doing that video. I don't think you'll find many of those out there. Once again, thank you very much to the pen company in the UK for sending me this one so that I can do this review. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you at the next review. Ciao, ciao.